Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wrestling for the Faith. I am Casey. Thank you for joining me today, and just want to go ahead and let you know I've tried to record this episode several different times, and I keep getting choked up and keep stumbling, but this is the final time. I'm just gonna go with it, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it. So I wanted to let everybody know why the podcast had been delayed by an extra few weeks. Originally, we'd planned to take a couple of weeks off at Christmas to spend time with the family, and then we were going to come back. But on Christmas Day, my family was struck by a tragedy. My cousin Dustin Dillard and his wife Brittany were killed in a car wreck on their way to our Christmas dinner. From what I understand, a drunk driver crossed over a grass median uphill, went airborne, and then landed pretty much on top of Dustin and Brittany's vehicle. And as I understand it, they were killed on impact. They also had their 3 young boys with them who are all under the age of 8 years old. They had severe injuries, but thank God they are pulling through. They were all airlifted to the hospital in critical condition, and but they've had many prayers and amazing doctors and people surrounding them and supporting them, and they are slowly but surely pulling through. 2 have been discharged from the hospital, and 1 is still in, but he is progressing every day. So so if you would, keep the Dillard family in your thoughts and prayers. And, it's just been a tough situation. And so that's why the podcast has been delayed. The family, we've been dealing with that. I'd like to also ask everyone to keep my aunt and uncle in your prayers, as they will be taking custody of my cousin's 3 boys. Also, Dustin's brother and his wife, who have been there every step of the way, and I know they're going to, be there to help raise the boys, and so be in prayer for them, and also Brittany's parents and that side of the family. Just, pray for comfort, pray for peace, and pray for, just all of these different emotions to calm in the family. I, have peace about Dustin and Brittany because I know where their heart was. I know that they were followers of Jesus, and I know that, the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And so on that day, Christmas Day of 2022, when they closed their eyes on this earth, they were in the arms of Jesus. And as hard as it was down here for us on earth, imagine the Christmas that Dustin and Brittany were having. So please, everyone, keep all of this in your prayers. And keep your family and your loved ones close. One thing that I try not to live life with regrets, but one thing that has come out of this, and it made me realize that when we were kids and teenagers, Dustin and I were really close. And then, as we got older and we both started our families and careers and everything, and we just kind of drifted apart. And I mean, we would see each other at family get-togethers, and we would, text here and there, but not near as close as we once were. And it's made me realize that I have cousins and I have family and I have friends who I was once close to, and I would like to take the time to be close with them once again. I hate that it's took something like this to, get me to see that, but a lot of times, it is a tragic situation that, the Lord uses to draw families and loved ones back together. So, a little funny story is I'd seen Dustin at a Christmas get-together on December 10th, and then on December 15th, I was sitting in my tree stand, and we have some family property that all connects. And Dustin and his family, they have some cows on the property. And the field where my tree stand is that I was sitting over, it's not fenced in. So as I'm sitting there one morning, I see this calf grazing down the field, and he's out of the fence. And so I just took a picture of him, and I said, "Hey, cousin," I sent it to Dustin. I said, "Hey, cousin, you've got an escapee up here." And then this past weekend was the first time that I'd been back up there to hunt since Dustin's passing. And I was sitting in that same tree stand, and I'm sitting there for a few minutes, and I look over, and that same calf comes grazing down that field in the same area, out of the fence again. And it brought tears to my eyes, but also, brought a chuckle to my heart, just to to know that was the last text that I sent Dustin. And so anyway, another little funny. It's funny to me. I don't know if you guys will care at all, but Dustin's a little younger than me. And when we were kids, he knew everything about heavy equipment. And for me, everything yellow, everything that was heavy equipment was a bulldozer. But Dustin knew all of these technical terms for all of this equipment, and that was his dream. He wanted to grow up and run heavy equipment and do what his dad did. And I'm here to say that Dustin accomplished that dream, and he was able to do that when he got older. And but anyway, as kids, he would hold up this piece of equipment, and he would say, "What's this?" And I'd say, "It's a bulldozer." And he'd say, "No, it's a backhoe." And he'd hold up another one and he'd say, "What's this?" I'd say, "It's a bulldozer." "No, it's a compactor." And, it was just funny because I remember as a kid, kind of getting angry at him because I'm like, hey, I'm older than you. I should know more than you. But he knew all of these technical terms. He knew all of this heavy equipment. He knew what it did. He knew what he knew what equipment came before it and what equipment would come after it to make, all of these amazing earth moving things happen, and it was just always funny to me. And going to the funeral, when I walked into that church, the first thing that I noticed out the back of the window in the lobby or whatever area there, the first thing that I noticed was a dump truck and a dozer sitting out back. The church was doing some construction in the back, and so I thought it was really funny and really fitting for those things to be sitting outside the church that Dustin and Brittany's funeral was at. Speaking of the funeral, it was amazing just to see how many people came through during that visitation and the funeral procession all the way to the cemetery. It was really amazing. And, I heard so many stories of Dustin and Brittany's generosity and how they love to give without letting anybody know about it. They love to give to charities, and they love to help others, and they love to, help families in need. And the amazing turnout at the visitation and at the funeral just showed how much they were loved and respected by the community. So on that note, I would like to tell everybody, if you feel led and you would like to donate, I'm going to give a few different things here, but if you would like to donate directly to the family, and this will go to help with the expenses of Dustin and Brittany's 3 boys, you can do so on Venmo. My aunt's Venmo is at Terry-Dillard-5. That is at TERRI-DILLARD-5. That's on Venmo, and that goes directly to the family. Also, the family also requested, that if you'd like to donate to the Ronald McDonald House, which is a place right across the street from the hospital where the immediate family and, the boys who were getting discharged from the hospital, were able to stay while waiting on the others to get out of the hospital. So the Ronald McDonald House was a great help and blessing to the family. So if, you would like to donate, we ask that you support the Ronald McDonald House, because it was a great thing for the family during this time of need. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Also, Dustin and Brittany were big supporters of the Bradley and Polk County Isaiah 117 house. And so I'll put that link in the show notes. If you feel led to donate in their memory or at all, feel free to do so. And I'm just grateful for all the love and support that the family has during this time. And I would also like to say to the man who hit them, who was airlifted to the hospital, and then he is now in jail. And, you know, they're awaiting the trial and everything. But it's easy for people to get angry at someone in this situation. And I want to say, first off, yes, this man did make the decision, the selfish and stupid decision to get behind the wheel intoxicated. And so I'm not saying that he did nothing wrong. He did make that decision. And there will be, you know, consequences for his actions. But as I have assessed this situation and thought about it over and over and over, you know, I have a lot of compassion toward this man. And I pray for this man that, you know, he will receive forgiveness from the Lord, and that ultimately that he'll come to know Jesus and be transformed. Here's the thing. I can admit that years ago, I could have been this man. There were times that I was drinking and driving, or, you know, would get drunk and drive. And, you know, I did that all over the country. So I know that I could have been this man. I did what he did. And, you know, it's only by the grace of God that I'm not in his position, that I did not take someone else's life while I was doing that. So I'd like to ask everyone to pray for this man. Pray for his salvation. Pray that he comes to know Jesus, and that, you know, even though this is a tragic thing that he will have to live with for the rest of his life, you know, I'm a firm believer in everything that the enemy means for evil, God can turn it for good. And I believe that he will in this situation. So pray for this man, that, you know, he comes to know the Lord, and that he is able to use this tragic situation as a testimony of God's grace and mercy and forgiveness. And so another thing that I would like to say about that is, you know, many times when I was drinking, or friends was drinking, and we were riding together, you know, we thought we were invincible, and we would, we thought we were better drivers drunk. We would brag about being good drivers while we were drunk, and all this stuff. But here's the thing. You may get away with it 1,000 times, but what about that one time that in the blink of an eye, your life changes forever? What about that one time that in the blink of an eye, you change someone else's life forever. So I'd like to encourage everybody, don't drink and drive, don't get high and drive, and don't be distracted in driving. You know, texting and driving, or people distracted by their devices these days is almost as bad as drinking and driving. So that text message, changing that song or changing that podcast or that Facebook post or that tweet or whatever it is, it can wait until your vehicle is safely stopped. So the thing is, when you get behind the wheel, drunk, high, or distracted, you know, you potentially have not only your life, but the lives of your passengers and the lives of everyone else that you meet on the road in your hands. So think about that. Don't be selfish. Think about others, please. Because this is a hard tragedy to go through. And I know for a lot of the family and friends, I'm sure it's going to be hard to forgive in this situation. So please don't put yourself in that position. Don't think that you're invincible. There's plenty of other options, you know, public transportation options, Lyft and Uber and all these other things that you can do if you are intoxicated and need a ride. So please don't do that. I think that's all I've got to say, really, about this situation. I'm grateful for the time that I had with my cousin. You know, when we were kids and teenagers, we were really close, and like I said, kind of drifted as we got older and began our families and careers and everything. And you know, that's life. But if there's anything that's coming out of this situation for me, it has been that I want to try my best to be close and to make time to be close to cousins and family and friends who I was once close to. So, I'm grateful for Dustin. I'm grateful for Brittany. They were great people. And I know that their memory is never going to go away. And I know that God has something so great that's going to come out of this situation. And I know that the testimony of Dustin and Brittany, and I know that maybe even these testimonies that their 3 boys will grow up and share, I know that God is going to get the glory for this. And that's what can give us hope in these tough times, that the Lord can use anything. And we've got to understand that even though we might not see what God is doing, and even though we might not understand what's coming on the other side, when things look so dark and tragic during times like these, we need to understand, and we've just got to trust that everything that our Heavenly Father does is right and it's good. And He's got a plan, and I'm holding to that. And that is giving me peace, and it's given me excitement for the future, to know that my Heavenly Father is in control and that this situation is not in vain. So I thank all of you for hearing me out today. I think it's kind of been like a bit of therapy for me to actually sit down and discuss this. So grateful for everyone listening. And like I said, I will be putting the links to these charities and to donate directly to the family in the show notes. So, pray about it. And if the Lord leads, feel free to donate. Feel free to help out in any way that you can. And of course, most of all, be praying for the family. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for hearing me out on this. And I just pray that something that was said, will touch someone or get someone's attention in some way in all of this. On a final note, we have had several wrestling fans reach out to us and asked us certain things about, storylines from the past or the present. Ask us to review shows, ask us to review matches and give our opinions on different things going on in the wrestling world. So Chad will be returning to the podcast very soon, and we do plan to take a dive off into some wrestling conversation. So if you have anything that you would like us to discuss in the wrestling world, or even biblically, feel free to email us at wrestlingforthefaith@gmail.com. Also, you can send us a message on the Wrestling for the Faith Facebook page. So, thank you guys. Be praying for the Dillard family, and we'll talk to you very soon. We love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.